to that fight. I don't see Islam winning this fight at all. I think I'm very confident saying that Charles will win the fight and finish him in the first round. I'm confident about that because I just think that Islam's only method to win is by being able to take Charles down consistently and hold him down. But if and make it a boring fight. But at any moment he can't get Charles down or she's struggling to get Charles down from the beginning or hold him down, he's gonna lose the fight automatically. And I just can't bet on a guy like that. I can't. And the odds keep switching. At first, Islam was minus 415 to win that fight. Now he's minus 155. And by fight night, it'll be pretty much even. Like, what does that say? Like, what does that say? The Vegas knows what they're saying most of the times. So like, I think it's an easy Charles Oliveira win.
I wonder what the odds were for Connor and Khabib, but that's aside the point. I
Khabib
agree.
was
I
minus
think
170. Khabib was minus 170.
okay. Yeah, I think that again, this is not Connor versus Khabib. This is not listen, a lot of guys are picking Islam because they see a lot of him in Khabib. They see a lot of Khabib in Islam. So they understand that these guys are very similar, but you have to look at the guys that Khabib fought, because let's say Islam is as good as Khabib. Okay, fine. What if he is? I doubt that he is, but let's say he is. That's really why people are just picking Islam because he's similar. He looks similar, a similar grappling style, boys, not as dominant, not as vicious, not as tenacious, but I could see it. But that's really why people are picking him. I mean,
it's the only reason why.
If Khabib did not exist, if Khabib didn't exist, I guarantee you Charles Oliveira would be a minus 300.
I agree with you. I completely agree with you. There's just like Islam is not proven. It's not proven. He's not proven at all. And I can't bet on a guy who, one, is not proven, and two, only has one way of winning. How can you bet on a guy like that? Like, at least when Chimaev was fighting Burns, like, Chimaev had more than one way of winning, Like, he could have knocked out Burns. He could have submitted Burns. He could have controlled him on the ground. Like, he had more ways of winning. Islam has one way of winning, and there's no experience. How could people be picking Islam to beat Charles? I don't get it.
It's all Khabib. Like, if Khabib, they pick him because, of course, like, physically he looks like Khabib, and also he's trains with Khabib. He's always been with Khabib. He has a similar style to Khabib, but he's not as he hasn't faced the same competition that Khabib did. So that's the thing. It's like he hasn't beat even an RDA. He hasn't beat a Connor. He hasn't beat a Gaethje. He hasn't beat a Poirier. And the thing is, okay, let's assume for a second that he is sort of like Khabib, which he's not. Let's assume that he could be. Okay, well, let's look at Khabib's toughest opponents: Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje, Conor McGregor. Obviously, they all fought Islam as well. I mean, they all fought Oliveira as well. But let's look at those guys. None of those guys have had any of the grappling threat that Charles Oliveira did. None of them. Not a single one of them. Furthermore, those guys didn't have the same danger and striking credentials when it comes to that clinch. Charles Oliveira is better in the clinch than any of those guys.
He's
but just the
power.
grappling alone, Khabib never faced a guy like Charles Oliveira. Never. Charles Oliveira is the most dangerous man on the mat in UFC history. Not even close. I agree. He submitted more guys than anyone else in UFC history.
So it's not even a debate.
That's the thing. It's like
it's a fact.
You talk about Islam's way to victory. It really is hold them down. Just that's it. Literally, just do everything that you can to hold them down. That's it. Until maybe the fourth and fifth round, maybe he gets him tired and then he could do damage. But it's Charles Oliveira has so many opportunities in that fight to hurt Islam, and Islam is not a good striker. I'm tired of hearing it. I'm tired of hearing he's got better striking than Khabib. It's not even as effective. He doesn't even use it. He's like I mean, yes,
not fluid.
Prettier technically than Khabib, but it's not as effective as Khabib's, and he's not a good striker. Okay, he just has striking that is only for the purpose of being defensive. And if there are any moments where Islam struggles to take down Oliveira, he's going to be getting lit up. And I agree. I think it's a first round KO. And again, like guys are just picking him because of Khabib's career and they see so many similarities. But Khabib's never faced someone that was so similar. And Charles Oliveira, you can say, sure, he's never faced a wrestler that was like Islam, but it doesn't matter because he's so good on the ground. Like, you know what I mean? He's not a Gilbert Burns. He's not a guy who can get taken down. You take him down, he's gonna submit you, or at least he's gonna put you in trouble. And on top of that, he's an extremely dangerous striker. Yeah, I agree. I think that I think that there's an 80% chance, maybe an 85% chance that Charles Oliveira knocks Islam Makhachev out in the first round.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I also think
and if not, like, I think there's a 90% chance that Charles Oliveira finishes Islam Makhachev within the, just in general, first 3 rounds, first 2 rounds.
And I think the thing is also like when you brought up the Gilbert Burns thing, like Chimaev wouldn't even go on the ground with Gilbert Burns. Kamar Usman wouldn't go on the ground with Gilbert Burns. Yeah. Islam Makhachev is way of winning is going to the ground. That's his only way of winning. And he has a similar
style to Chimaev. Like Chimaev is just as good as the Habibs, as the what's fucking Islam. Like he has the same style on the ground. Just a better
striker.
Just a better striker. Yeah, exactly.
So what does that say about that? You know what I mean? It says that those guys who are great wrestlers just
don't have that success.
They wouldn't even go on the ground with Gilbert.
Hamza Chimaev clearly felt something. And here's the thing. There is a chance that Hamza Chimaev could have went back to the ground with Gilbert Burns and had some success.
But still didn't want to risk it.
He felt something when he was there. He didn't want to risk it. And we also saw Gilbert Burns maneuver his way out of danger on the ground in the first sequence. Chimaev was trying to take his back, and Gilbert Burns, I saw a breakdown video, and he like, I don't really understand jiu-jitsu that well. I'll admit it, but he was doing all the right things to make sure that Chimaev didn't get his back, and he did. And I think that Charles Oliveira, if he does get taken down, is going to get up. Straight up.
So I think he's going to get up. So Islam is not going to win the fight.
Or if he at least get out of a bad position and then get a dominant position on Islam.
The thing is, though, that it's if Usman, Chimaev wouldn't go on a ground with a guy who's literally like not as good of a grappler and as Charles Oliveira, is not as good as Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as Charles Oliveira. Is it really a good idea for Islam to? Like, I just think that like
that's his game plan too.
Yeah, and that's just crazy to me. You know, I mean, that's just crazy to me that his only way of winning is by taking Charles down, which is something that nobody wants to do.
Yeah, I think Islam is at least really, really cocky about his ground game going into this fight, and I think it's because he has no other option. Like he knows that he has no other option to win the fight, so he better have every ounce of belief in his grappling that he can muster, because that's his only way. So of course, Islam is going to be confident with his ground game, because that's how he wins. You know? Yeah. Like that's it. They're like, he knows that this is it. Like, I have to be confident. So Islam is good. I believe Islam's confident in his ground game, but I just think it's going to be a rude awakening, and it all goes downhill once he doesn't find success. And that's how I'm making my prediction. I think Charles Oliveira, I think he beats him. Listen, there's a chance that Islam Makhachev could win, but it's such a slim chance in my opinion these days. Like, he could take Charles down and neutralize him, not do any damage, and just hold him there for 2-3 rounds, or clinch and just hug him straight up. Like, make it an extremely boring fight, and the referee might be, one of the guys that's not going to separate them because it's in Abu Dhabi. But that's his only way to win, unless he lands a fluke. Unless he gets some kind of a fluke, like a weird leg kick or knockout, or like a one punch. I mean, I think Islam Makhachev has a better chance of landing a one punch knockout than getting a submission early on in this fight, or ground and pound. I don't know. I think that Charles Oliveira is going to win this. I think he's going to go down as the GOAT. I think Charles Oliveira, if he does win this, is going to fight maybe. I think Charles, if he wins this, I think he could. I think, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, that's obviously the next matchup.
Yeah, that's the next matchup. I
I
think that's the
wonder
next
if Volk
matchup.
moves
Whoever
up.
wins,
If Islam wins, I don't know if Volk moves up because that's not as
that's a bad
interesting.
matchup. That's a bad
It's
matchup.
not